Where JTA hosted the 10th annual Florida Autonomous Vehicle Summit. Experts from across the Sunshine State and throughout the country descended on Northeast Florida to see and hear the latest on autonomous technology.
This vehicle is safe, and frankly, as we're talking to multiple AV companies that are innovating all the time.
For 3 days in December, Northeast Florida was ground zero for autonomous vehicle technology. Hundreds of industry experts and others hoping to learn more converged here for the state's 10th annual Autonomous Vehicle Summit.
There are so many forward thinkers here, all in one space, that are converging into one location. And I guarantee you, you can never find a conference that brings everybody into one space with the same shared mission of advancing autonomous mobility safely for all communities around the country.
JTA hosted this year's event, and there was no shortage of people who wanted to know more about the authority's acclaimed Ultimate Urban Circulator program.
A lot of folks, because here in Florida, there's a number of agencies, and really around the country, a number of agencies that are beginning their journey in terms of autonomous vehicle deployment. We as the JTA are a bit further ahead,
but also looking to learn from others and collaborate with other folks on how we advance this technology and how we can leverage autonomous vehicles as a whole.
Former State Senator Jeff Brandes, who first became interested in autonomous technology after losing too many soldiers to roadside bombs while serving in the U.S. Army overseas, recognized JTA as not only a leader in Florida, but nationally.
Well, and I think JTA's movement on what they're doing with converting their train system to more to automated deployment, I think is absolutely a leader, frankly, in the nation on how to rethink about systems of the future and not systems of the past.
One of the keynote speakers at this year's summit was Brad Templeton, a noted designer of autonomous cars who has worked with the technology for more than a decade. Templeton agreed with Senator Brandes about JTA's project, saying the JTA autonomous plan to convert the elevated Skyway for use with autonomous vehicles and then quadruple its service area is certainly the way to go.
I actually was impressed that they're changing the Skyway and they're going to remove the railed vehicles from it and allow the Skyway to just be some infrastructure that can be used by vehicles that can travel on regular streets as well as on the elevated paths. And that's the right way to do it. You want to make very simple infrastructure and put the smarts in the vehicles. And Jacksonville's actually one of the few cities to have figured that out.
Leave your horn in your left hand.
In the demonstration areas where we found the latest in autonomous uses, including this electric three-wheeler from Acromoto. Acromoto's Adrian Brand says the plan is to convert what is now a fun electric vehicle capable of speeds up to 75 miles per hour and convert it to autonomous for use as a robo-taxi.
Robo-taxi, rides and last mile delivery. So if we'll be working on systems such as phone apps, which will allow clients to call up the vehicle will come to them driverlessly. They will be able to jump in and either commute with it or use it for recreation, and when they get out of the vehicle will then go off to the next customer or potentially eventually go off and charge itself and that side of it.
And this display, while not as flashy as an electric three-wheeler, does play a critical part in keeping you safer. It allows the driverless vehicles to better see and read lane markings on the road in foul weather, like the heavy downpours we see here in Florida.
So forward-facing camera systems rely on pavement markings for lane centering, lane departure warning, look ahead, and the better the pavement marking performance is, the better off they perform.
While checking out the latest autonomous innovations outside in the demonstration area was fun and exciting, inside, some key conversations centered around sorting through regulatory issues.
What we can do as a group, what we can do as a state, and what we can do collectively as a nation to advance the regulatory framework to enable us to ultimately test and prove out the use of these vehicles more broadly is really, really important.
As host, JTA's Ultimate Urban Circulator initiative was at the forefront of many of the presentations and discussions during the three-day event. And while JTA is considered by many a leader in the autonomous industry with its extensive test and learn program, JTA is far from the lone wolf when it comes to pursuing driverless technology in Florida. As Making Moves senior correspondent Eugene Lindsay reports, it's not just traditional public transit agencies who are getting involved.
The way automobiles maneuver has remained virtually the same since the inception of motor-powered vehicles, requiring human hands to be on the wheel at all times. But now the JTA, along with several other Florida transit agencies, are on the cusp of revolutionizing your commuting and driving experience. Industry leaders from around the country gathered here at the Florida Automated Vehicles Summit. Their mission here is to gain insight into what Florida is doing to create just the right environment to implement and deploy autonomous vehicles throughout the state. And when it comes to moving people and mass transportation, autonomous vehicles will someday soon be the way to go.
As we're talking to multiple AV companies that are innovating all the time.
For 10 years now, transportation and technology experts have gathered annually at this summit. Their sole focus here is to advance the implementation of autonomous vehicles and connected technology so that it will someday be the norm in your daily commute. And while the JTA is certainly at the forefront of helping to make this a reality, other Florida transit agencies are also making major contributions to this autonomous endeavor.
The great thing is we have all of these experiments going on. No, there is nobody who's perfected it yet, but it's important that we all learn and grow together. And in Florida, we have great transportation agencies, not only the Department of Transportation, but JTA and our other expressway authorities, who are really leaders in this conversation and are taking it to the next level and are kind of pioneering this new ground.
And the pursuit to deploy an autonomous transit system in the Altamont Springs region will certainly be next level, with a plan to build 2 separate AV programs within the city.
We're going to build 2 autonomous vehicle programs in 2 different parts of the city. The first one will connect a regional rail system to a regional trail system, and through that we'll go through about 4 million square feet of non-residential use and about 7,000 apartments. So we're going to connect 2 regional modes of transportation together, and then in between those 2 are employment centers and living centers, and also assisted living facilities where there are some seniors. So ultimately what we want to have is a system that goes where people want to go.
And further down the state in Southwest Florida, at the Tampa-Hillsborough Expressway Authority, a major part of their AV focus is on technology that connects and communicates to make road travel safer by providing various safety warnings of the road ahead.
And we would send safety warnings. We would do traffic light countdowns coming up on a crosswalk in the urbanized area of downtown Tampa. If someone's in that crosswalk, the warning would come up on the screen and say pedestrian in crosswalk. So those types of things, safety messages. But what we also did was send out speed warnings if someone was driving too fast for conditions. Wrong way driver. We had 14 instances of wrong way drivers on the expressway that we were able to warn the CV pilot participants way out of sight, miles down the road. There's a wrong way driver on the system.
And as you continue south to the Miami-Dade Expressway Authority, they are now incorporating autonomous technology directly into the roadway itself.
We've done some extensive capacity improvements on one of our major arteries, State Road 836, our east-west connector. And what we did was that we've repurposed our shoulders for transit. And we also want to use that as the platform for autonomous use in the future. So when the time comes, our plan is to have that lane perform as our technology lane.
And it's this kind of forward thinking that has Florida leading the way to the future of autonomous transportation.
It's one of the reasons that Florida is the hotbed for autonomous technology is because you have so many amazing partners who are coming to the table who really want to be the first with everything. When you look at the Jacksonville Transportation Authority, Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority, Miami-Dade, they're all experiencing and testing autonomous mobility because they believe this is the future and they know this is the future. So why not start now?
At the Florida Autonomous Vehicle Summit, Eugene Lindsay, JTA, Making Moves.